Hi, my name is Borzu. I'm the founder of Nickelbrong. Thank you for coming to my talk, Vibes Over KPIs, about why your brand is the most important part of your marketing puzzle. People think KPIs, numbers, traffic, everything's important, but if you don't build a company that people are gonna wanna work with, none of that matters. At Nickelbrong, we took the expression beauty is skin deep, but ugly goes clean to the bone, and changed it as beauty is skin deep, but brand goes clean to the bone. When I say vibe, what do I mean? So everyone's had this immediate reaction in a million situations. You swipe right on Tinder, you think you found the one, you have a new friend, new employee, new whatever, and immediately you are either drawn or repelled to that person. You don't know why, no one really does. We have a million different words for it. We picked up on the energy, we had a gut feeling, it was intuition, but you don't know until 2, 3, 6 months later if you made the right choice, if they were the right fit. And what do you do next time? The same thing, you make a gut call again. Your prospective clients, customers, even employees are doing the same thing. They're making these immediate gut choices, and you're not controlling everything you can to make them pick you. By the time a potential customer fills out a form or calls you, they've made 70% of the decision as to whether or not they're gonna work with you. That leaves 30% to sales and in your control. 70% of it is done while you sleep by your brand. And people think this is just D2C and buying Instagram ads, but even in B2B, which we consider the most empirical, thought out, data-driven choice, right? We think this is the most merit-based way it goes. 90% of people still start their search online and will visit between 2 and 7 other sites before picking someone. You know, people say looks don't matter, but a first impression does, and they will click out of that site and they will go somewhere else and they will never talk to you and find out how good you are. Your brand is more than just your logo. I know everyone thinks just of the visual identity when it comes to your brand, but it's your culture, it's your values, it's everything you put out into the world. How many people know what an Abercrombie store smells like? Yeah, it's not an accident. They're not trying to sell the cologne. They want that seared into your brain. So every time you think of something Abercrombie, they're hitting another sense of yours to trigger it. So Seth Godin said this recently. I wish I could take credit for this. But if I told you Nike was gonna make a hotel, can you imagine it? Like what the lobby might look like, maybe your room, right? Certainly the gym. You're not picturing a different hotel that you've seen, right? Like you can imagine an actual Nike logo. Now, if I told you Hilton was gonna make a shoe, what do you see? Like maybe you'll think of like a Sperry or Stan Smith and like throw their logo, but you can't think of an original Hilton shoe. And that's because Nike has a brand and Hilton is just a logo. Now, what do you want? Do you want to be a cool brand? Of course you do. Please don't lie and tell me you don't. Everybody wants to be cool. People will spend more with a cool brand. They are more likely to refer you. They are more likely to tell people they work with you. They're gonna advocate for you in scenarios that you would never think. But cool is very hard to engineer. You can't fake cool. It has to be authentic, and you don't get to pick what's cool. And there's nothing less cool, and I learned this lesson the hard way, than telling other people you're cool, right? You can't engineer it. And there's a very specific amount of cool that you need to be to get the benefits of being cool. If you're too cool, not enough people are gonna be into it. And if you're not cool enough, well, we know. So what can you do? Start with why. We do purpose-based branding, purpose-based strategy, and this is something anyone can do, right? Not every brand is meant to be cool. I don't want a cool bookkeeper. I want my bookkeeper at home playing Dungeons and Dragons, worrying about my numbers. I don't want a cool plumber. I've seen videos about what happens when a cool plumber comes to your house, and I'm not interested in that. What you can do is find your purpose, right? So this is a Japanese concept called ikigai, which is really based around you're finding your personal purpose, right? What you can be paid for, what you're good at, what you love, and what the world needs, right? If you find something that you're good at and you love, that's your passion. That might be video games, right? If you find something that you're good at and you can be paid for, that's just a 9 to 5, right? But if you can find something that checks all these boxes, this becomes the flywheel that gives you personal purpose. You can do the same thing for your business. Simon Sinek really popularized this idea with his TED Talk, and it's time for all businesses to implement and start using this. So what do we do? Purpose-based branding. Purpose-based branding can create a strong bond with the customers rooted in shared values and a common mission. I don't want to hear that you're in it for the money. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm also in it for the money. I would not be working if money wasn't involved, but it's not a differentiator. Your employees, any company they go to, they're gonna get money. Your customers, they're all trying to grow. You obviously want to make money. This is not something you want to be putting out into the world as to what you're pushing. And this is not just a feelings thing. The Stengel 50, they did an empirical data set on 50,000 companies and found that purpose-based brands outperform the S&P by 400%. There's data for revenue on this, and there's data for employees. 85% of the Fortune 100 best companies reported that their work had special meaning and was more than just a job, right? So the difference between the employees going the extra mile caring about what they do, is having a purpose they can tie to. And so what are some purpose-based brands? Patagonia. Their purpose is to make products that give back to the earth as much as they take. They did $1 billion in revenue in 2020. This is a highly segmented space with no one having commanding market share. I think Patagonia is around 15% right now, but they're still in first place. And when you do something great and it works, people are going to copy it. So now other brands in this space are pushing their sustainability initiatives. They're nowhere near Patagonia. This is a hard thing to catch up on. Patagonia's gone pretty far. They've promised all their future profits to the earth. I'm also not sure what that means, but it's a really big claim. But they're in first place in a very competitive, expensive industry. Toms, do you guys remember these? Buy one, give one away. Their purpose was to make a more equitable world. We all bought these. They were house slippers. Were we hypnotized? It was maybe the worst shoe I've ever owned. But everyone did it. They got up to a $625 million valuation. Now it's not looking like that anymore. Eventually product and service and everything comes into play. But they built up to $625 million valuation on an incredibly poor shoe just on the purpose of giving something to someone else. And I know someone who paid $80 for a pair of these from Nordstrom's just because it had a skull embroidered on it. It was me. I was the person. Tesla, now this is a very specific purpose. I know everyone's mad at Elon because of Twitter, and I'm sorry, but we're gonna just not deal with that right now. Accelerate the advent of sustainable transport by bringing compelling mass market electric cars to market as soon as possible. Now look at how specific this is without really getting into tactics, right? Accelerate the advent of sustainable transport. This is not just about us selling cars. This is about increasing EV market share across the globe to make the entire earth more sustainable. We're going to do that by bringing compelling mass market electric cars to market as soon as possible, right? So if you followed, they started with the Roadster. There's a $100,000+ car. They sold very few of them. Went down to the S, went down to the X. It took them 15 years to get to a car that even a lot of people could afford. But not only did they do that, but they also have every other car manufacturer making EVs because they proved that people would drive them. They proved that they were better. Their governments all around the world are putting an end to combustible engines, and they did it with this purpose. The purpose wasn't to make money. The purpose wasn't to beat GM, and they sell 1/10 the number of cars at Toyota and have double the market cap. So people are not just buying the cars, they're buying the stock. They're investing. They believe in what Tesla's doing. Okay, now what about normal companies, right? It's easy to be purpose-based if you have millions of dollars to spend. So this is Z Family Law. It's a small business here in Maryland. They do family law, that's divorce, wills and trusts, custody. Pretty nasty business in general. And if any of you have been in this situation, it's not a fun experience. And the lawyer's market is, I'm gonna be your bulldog. I'm gonna go to war with you. I'm gonna get you everything you need, right? It's an adversarial, we're going to combat pitch and tone. But that's not what Z Family Law does. Their purpose is to create new beginnings. And what does that mean all the way down, right? Because you have the marketing angle of it. But what does that mean when a client is complaining to their caseworker that they might not get their kids on Christmas? The caseworker says, hey, it doesn't matter. Your kids are going to be just as happy getting a gift from you on the 24th as they are on the 26th. Your kids are not going to remember what day it was on. Don't fight about that. The lawyer will say, get your spouse a gift on their birthday and give it to them in front of the kids because they are focused on you starting a good new life. Are they going to get you everything you're entitled to? Yes. Are they going to go to war with you if they have to? Yes. But they are focused on finding a new beginning for you, right? This can be a good thing. You're leaving something that wasn't serving you and you're going on to something better. Isn't this the kind of company that you would want to work with? And Pay Steady. So this was actually a super small project we did. Really just changed the homepage design, tagline, button, right? And we did not do ongoing marketing for them. So no new traffic, no SEO, no ads. If you look at their analytics, the number of visitors that got to their site stayed the same, but their purpose is to remove the headache from payday, right? This is a small business, but they resell big business software. So you can get ADP through them, you can get Rippling through them, and they saw huge growth in number of form fills and number of phone calls they got after we launched the site. What does that mean if there's not new traffic? It means these people were coming to their site anyway and choosing someone else. And just by changing the messaging, just by changing the pitch, they're like, oh, maybe I should talk to these guys. Maybe I should see what they have to offer. And again, the removing the headache from payday, that goes all the way down, right? Your salespeople, what's bad about payday for you? Your customer service people, what's causing a problem for you on payday? If they're looking at new software to buy or resell or whatever, does this help remove the headache from payday? And this is up and down the organization all the way through. And then us, we inspire organizations to be bold. So when I started this company, I made the deck I thought people would want to see. KPIs, data, SEO, we're going to get your cost per click down, right? And I sent it out, and we did our own market research, and almost to a person, everyone said, that's not why we come to you. We come to you because we want to be different, right? We still do all those things. We still do ads, we still do SEO, we still do social, right? But people come to us because they want something else. Does everyone want this? No. Some people very much don't want to be different, right? But for the people who do, those are the people that we want to attract. And so how can you do this? The first step is to make a brand strategy. This is the number one thing people are missing when they come to see us. I cannot tell you how many entrepreneurs, founders, business owners I talk to, and when I sit down, they have the best pitch. We are great because of this. We solve that problem. Our customers love us because of why. Not only is it not on their site, not in their collateral, not in any of the marketing they're putting out, but their employees don't know. It's you see so many founders and entrepreneurs, they get to a certain level and things peter off. And it's because no one else understands what makes the company great, what makes it different, why they do what they do. And this, again, affects everything. It affects which employees come apply for your jobs. It affects how hard they work. It affects if they refer people into you, which I still think is the number one metric of how strong your brand is and how good your culture is if employees are referring people in. And then, how do you build a brand people are attracted to? This is something anyone can do. Obviously, it would be better if we did it, but we're firm believers that the answers are in the room. You can do this yourself. There are 5 big pieces of the brand strategy. Your brand purpose. This is the reason you exist. Mission, vision, that can change with leadership, market trends, things happening in the economy. Purpose withstands everything. The purpose does not change. Identity, this is I think what everyone thinks about with brand. Logo, colors, fonts, right? It's just the first things people see. Your positioning, this is what makes you different than your competitors, okay? There should be a reason they would pick you over someone else, and you probably know what it is. And if it doesn't, it may be time to rethink what you're doing. I actually have shut down a business before for this reason, because I could not find a reason that we were significantly better than everyone else in the market. Brand communication pillars. These are the topics that your people should be hitting all the time. It's part of the purpose, but they should know these are the things you do. This is what your company stands for. Personality and tone. I feel like this is one that people get stuck on a lot, right? It's who is your business? And if you're having trouble with this, pick a celebrity, you know? It could be fictional. Are you like a Ross or a Rachel or a Joey? It could be a real person. Are you a George Clooney? Are you a Scarlett Johansson? Are you a Jimmy Fallon, right? It's not perfect, but it gives the team an idea of who the company is. And again, our brand purpose, inspire organizations to be bold. So inspire for us is, you know, clients aspire to be like us, different, honest, chill. Organizations are our target audience, and we empower them to stand out from the crowd, to be confident in who they are, to be different. And then I'm just gonna show you guys this quickly, but our purpose and positioning is, again, to inspire you to be bold, and we do that by opening up unconventional opportunities for brands and people to flourish. Our brand values are grow, hustle, make cool shit, be real, and give a fuck. I can tell you that by itself eliminates half the potential customer market for us, and that's okay, right? If you are not gonna be okay with me using bad language around you, engagement's not gonna go well anyway, right? So if this is a red flag for you, I'm fine with it. Communication pillars, we dare you to be bold, we get it right, our eye is on the prize, right? We're still delivering results, and we're on your side. And you'll see this in communication with my team all the time. It's like, hey, we have your back, hey, we're on your side, right? And then our tone and voice is bold, transparent, casual, energetic, easygoing, confident, and empathetic. So now positioning. Positioning, you know, there's no right answer for this. And you can win with different positioning. That's the whole deal, right? You want it to be different. So Walmart versus Target. Who shops at Walmart? Who shops at Target? All right, we got a couple boths, mostly one or the other, right? Walmart's low cost, Target's high value. Walmart could not beat Target at the high value game, and Target can't beat Walmart at the low cost game. If Target had come out, right, and gone after Walmart in that way, it just wouldn't have worked. They would never have grown to the size they were. And you know, you could make an argument that Walmart's a better brand because it's bigger, has more employees, whatever, but Target's doing fine. And they've carved out a great niche for themselves, just being a little different, because it's a lot of the same stuff. I know I have Nike on here twice. It's a branding talk. They're kind of the king. Just be glad I'm not including Apple at all. But Nike is just do it performance style, right? New Balance is comfort and domestically made, right? If you don't want your shoes made in a sweatshop, you're probably gonna have to go with New Balance. And I'm not gonna lie, when I was making this, I was like, man, I own a lot of Nikes. You know, it really made me feel like a certain way about it. But again, like Nike's kind of king, obviously, right? But New Balance has carved out a nice niche for themselves. And they've kind of tried, but when they go after Nike in basketball, doesn't work out that good. But when they go for running, comfort, and obviously if you have a really wide foot, you have to wear New Balance, like you don't have a choice. But New Balance has carved out a really nice niche for themselves, even against the king. Now, if you don't have a brand strategy, I mean, you have to do it. You can do it yourself. We'll give you kind of all the tips and tricks. The answers are in the room. You can talk to your staff, you can talk to your customers, you can talk to your employees, talk to your stakeholders. That does not necessarily mean you need a new logo. You might. A lot of people, like, you know, they drew their napkin, like a logo on their napkin with their partner when they started the business. I'm like, it means so much to them. Doesn't mean it's good. It's a classic, like, what got you here won't get you there. And I got a lot of reasons here why you may need to rebrand. Branding no longer reflects the vision. You just don't like the look and feel. Competitive advantage is vague or poorly communicated. Model or strategy has changed, just outgrown the brand. Merger acquisition. Merger acquisition is actually the best time to redo your strategies. Even if you're like the bigger company and you're picking up the smaller one, right? Just surveying everyone, giving them a voice. Even if you don't, like between me and you, even if you don't listen to them, it makes them feel heard. I'm just saying hypothetically, someone's got to win, right? And I'm not saying to listen to anyone, right? But I mean, maybe the acquiring company wins. And so, but at least everyone's got a seat at the table, right? Everyone's being heard. And so, you know, you've gone a new geographic reason, brand along your audience. The biggest one is we're struggling to grow or gain new customers and get traction, right? If this is happening, if you think you're really good at what you do and you're just not getting people to bite, this is kind of where the rubber really meets the road and it all comes together. And now consistency is key. I know everyone hears this in a million different ways. I'm gonna tee up my next talk. This applies to social. If you have one person doing your social, and if you have one person doing your outbound email, and if you have one person doing your website copy, and you have one person doing your LinkedIn, and the things don't sound the same, it subconsciously breeds mistrust and a lack of credibility. People don't think that, oh, these two things don't match, so I don't know if I trust this company. They just feel like they don't trust you. That's where the vibe comes in, and it applies just as much to internal communications when you're talking to your team. I told you I was gonna set you up. So what about AI? Everyone thinks they don't have to market anymore because of AI. And you're like half right. It's a lot easier. But, and I'm not gonna read this whole thing, this is a ChatGPT prompt we use with our purpose, tone, voice, pillars, and preferences. And I'll give you guys our Instagram at the end. If you DM us, we will send you this ChatGPT prompt with how to do it. And this is how you can get 6 different people working in 6 different places to generate similar content. And even if they're writing it from scratch, this is the map that they use to stay on brand for what you need. But creative is still king. How do you crush Facebook ads? Creative. How do you crush TikTok ads? Creative. How do you crush Google ads? Okay, it's targeting, but they're still gonna get to your homepage eventually, and they're still gonna make a choice of whether or not they're gonna fill out that form or call, and they're probably still gonna click on a couple ads and a couple organic sources, and then decide who they wanna talk to. So, I hope you guys found this useful. I think that you can do this yourselves if you take the time. I know that it feels daunting. I know that it feels like a lot of work, but creating this consistency, it really becomes the flywheel that turns everything else for your company. So if you guys want to scan this, you can follow us on Instagram. And if you DM us either ChatGPT or brand strategy or just both, we will send you our brand strategy just so you have an idea of what the final deliverable looks like, the ChatGPT prompt, or if you do both, we'll send you both. And just remember, as you guys are doing this, good vibes only. Thank you.